You found yourself thrown back in time, courtesy of a mysterious witch's wormhole, landing in ancient Egypt. Specifically, you're in the New Kingdom era, the pinnacle of Egyptian might and renown. The New Kingdom, spanning from approximately 1570 to 1070 BCE, is famed for its wealth, architectural achievements, and powerful pharaohs like Ramses II and Hatshepsut. It's a world vastly different from your own, filled with grandeur, but also daily struggles. Childhood challenges. Surviving childhood in this era was no small feat. Without modern medical advancements, infant mortality was staggeringly high. Between 20 to 50% of babies didn't make it past infancy. If you did survive those early years, you'd face a gauntlet of challenges like disease, hunger, and the harsh environment. Every child's role was crucial in contributing to the household, from chores to learning the family trade. Imagine growing up in a modest, mud brick home, participating in the daily grind from an early age. Your diet as a child would primarily consist of bread, milk, fruits, and vegetables, with fish being a rare treat if your father was skilled enough to catch one. Meals were simple, often flavored with garlic and onions. Bread, a staple food, was usually coarse and gritty, sometimes containing sand, which wore down the teeth of ancient Egyptians. You would have relied heavily on your mother for care and sustenance, assuming she survived childbirth herself, given the high maternal mortality rates. But now, with no family due to the space-time anomaly, you're an orphan in a foreign world. You need to find a way to survive in this rigidly structured society. Social hierarchy and your place. Let's see where you might fit in ancient Egyptian society, which was strictly hierarchical. At the top sat the pharaoh, the divine ruler considered a god on earth. The pharaoh's word was law, and his duty was to maintain Maya, Dai, Atia, and Mai, the concept of cosmic order and balance. Below him were his advisors and the elite class, including high priests, nobles, and officials who managed the day-to-day affairs of the kingdom. Next were the scribes, the educated class, who could read and write hieroglyphs. They were crucial for administration, keeping records, and maintaining the bureaucracy. Below them were skilled artisans and craftsmen, including builders, jewelers, and artists whose work adorned temples and tombs. Then came the farmers and laborers, the backbone of Egyptian society. Over 90% of ancient Egyptians were farmers, relying on the Nile for irrigation. They lived in small villages, growing crops like wheat, barley, and flax. Life was tough, with long hours spent in the fields under the hot sun. Slaves, often captured foreigners, occupied the bottom rung of the social ladder. They worked in households, temples, and on large construction projects like pyramids and temples. As a newcomer, you would likely stand out and risk being captured and enslaved. Finding your role. But let's say you manage to convince the locals that you're not a threat. Your next step would be finding work. Without knowledge of the language, manual labor is your best bet. You'd start by showing your physical strength, perhaps helping to move stones or clear fields. Your modern build and fitness would serve you well here, making you an attractive worker for local farmers or builders. Your ability to read and write, even in a different script, could eventually elevate your status. If you show any interest in learning the local language, you might catch the attention of a scribe or a priest willing to teach you the basics of hieroglyphics or Demotic script. This skill could open doors to better opportunities, allowing you to move up from the fields to more specialized work. Daily life and challenges. Working on a farm involves hard labor, from planting to harvesting, and dealing with the annual flooding of the Nile. This flooding, while crucial for replenishing the soil's fertility, also brings challenges. You need to construct and maintain irrigation channels, work in the muddy fields, and protect the crops from pests. The Nile provided water and transportation, but also posed dangers like crocodiles and the risk of flooding villages. Your diet would mainly consist of bread and beer, staples of the ancient Egyptian diet. Beer was not only a common beverage, but also an important source of nutrition. It was brewed in a way that made it thick and nutritious, quite different from modern beer. You might also eat lentils, beans, leeks, and cucumbers. Meat was a luxury, usually reserved for special occasions. While farming, you must remain vigilant against the Nile's hazards like snakes and disease. Parasites and infections were common, and without modern hygiene practices, maintaining your health would be challenging. Bathing in the Nile, while refreshing, also exposed you to parasites like the schistosome worm, which caused debilitating diseases. Moving up the ranks. But your efforts don't go unnoticed. Your resilience and work ethic catch the eye of local officials, and you get drafted into the military. Training as a soldier, you learn to wield weapons like the khopesh, a curved sword, or the spear and bow. The ancient Egyptian army was well organized, with infantry, charioteers, and archers forming its core. As a soldier, you'd undergo rigorous training, learning to march in formation, handle various weapons, and follow commands. The military was a means of social mobility, offering the chance to gain wealth, land, and a higher social status. Soldiers were often rewarded with plots of land or shares of the spoils from successful campaigns. The call to arms. The new kingdom often engaged in wars, particularly with the enigmatic sea peoples, who were likely from the Mediterranean region. These invaders posed a significant threat to Egyptian stability, raiding coastal towns and disrupting trade routes. As a soldier, you'd face these formidable foes. Combat is brutal, and your survival depends on your ability to quickly adapt to ancient warfare techniques. On the battlefield, you'd experience the chaos and violence of ancient combat. You might use a shield to block incoming arrows and thrust your spear into the ranks of the enemy. The khopesh, with its curved blade, was designed for close combat, allowing you to hook and slash at opponents. Your training with the bow would enable you to strike enemies from a distance, but you'd need to be quick and accurate. War and survival. Your battlefield prowess and determination would earn you respect among your peers, but the realities of ancient warfare are harsh. Injuries were common, and without modern medical care, even minor wounds could become life-threatening. The camaraderie among soldiers was strong, as you relied on each other for survival. Every skirmish is a fight for survival, in a land far removed from your own time. The experience would be grueling, testing your physical and mental limits. Yet, each victory would bring a sense of accomplishment and a step closer to securing a better life. In this ancient world, you must navigate through societal ranks, harsh labor, and relentless combat, relying on your modern knowledge and adaptability to thrive. With perseverance and a bit of luck, you might not only survive, but also carve out a place for yourself in the storied history of ancient Egypt.